So some people are like, oh, everybody would die. Just leave me. This cholesterol thing. If you would die, would have done long ago. They make all those excuses and just not take care of themselves because they are not thinking about the quality of life. Yes, you die, all right. But would you rather live healthy until that day, or would you want to be dependent on somebody? Your children who have to go to school, who have to take care of their own family. All right, so PAD stands for Peripheral Artery Disease. And so going forward then, what causes this disease? What causes this disease? And we'll go on to say that when your blood flow is reduced, basically what happens is when cholesterol has accumulated in your body, it has to find a place to land. And the places they land, because they are flowing through the bloodstream, flowing in the arteries, they are flowing through your pipes, they have to find places to deposit. And so what we are showing you now is cholesterol depositing the yellow substances that you can see. This is right in the middle of the way, as we can see right now. Right in the middle of the artery, you see that the yellow substance, which is the cholesterol plaques, have built up so much that now it's going to block the flow of blood into your muscle cells in your legs or your arms. When the flow of blood to your muscle cells become decreased, the muscle cells begin to suffer because they need energy, they need the food, they need the oxygen that the blood is carrying to be able to contract and relax. That is when you are exercising, when you are moving, and all those good stuff. So if your muscles cannot receive adequate blood supply because cholesterol, this yellow substance, is blocking the blood flow from reaching it, then we got a problem. And that is what actually causes the pain in the legs, because your leg muscles need the supply of oxygen. High cholesterol, high LDL is hampering the flow of blood to your muscle cells. And so your muscle cells cannot do any work. This is why in peripheral artery disease, if you are resting, you don't feel any pain. But the moment you start walking or exercising, that's where the pain comes. Because now your muscles are looking for oxygen-rich blood so that it can contract with the energy and the food that the blood is supplying. But if it's no blood is coming because cholesterol is blocking the flow, then we got a problem.
Yeah, so some people will have this pain so much so that when they are walking, they have to stop and sit because that's how much the pain, it hurts so bad. So the whole legs feel sometimes numb and crampy to the point that, as we are explaining, the cells are not getting the oxygen because the cholesterol plaques are blocking the artery. So as it blocks the artery, oxygen is not able to flow with the blood into the cells. That's why you get so tired and your leg hurts so bad because you're not receiving enough oxygen to the area.
You're not receiving enough oxygen to the area. So she already went into the next point, which is the signs of peripheral artery disease or the leg pain we're talking about. The first, of course, is the pain. We have already explained that. And also achiness. You may feel achy, in your muscles, muscle aches, especially in the regions of your legs and then your arms. But most of the time in the legs. And then also cramps. So if you have leg cramps all the time and you don't know what it is, don't stay home and think like, oh, it's old age. Yeah, old age could bring some cramps. In fact, electrolyte imbalance can bring cramps too. Yeah. But until that is told, until you've been diagnosed, you don't stay home and diagnose yourself and say that this is what I think it is. It could be this problem we're talking about. It could be blood flow problem because your blood is not flowing to your muscles the way they should be. And for that, your muscles are suffering. And that's why they are crying. And when they cry, you cry.
You can say that their quality of life is really, really reduced.
The quality of life, when we talk about health, it's not just the absence of disease. You don't feel like you're sick. Some people, the only time they feel that they are sick is when they are in a hospital bed and they can't do anything. But if you are not in a hospital bed, but you cannot walk, your quality of life is reduced. is reduced no matter how young or how old you are. If because of peripheral artery disease, because of PAD, because of high cholesterol, you can't walk, you can't stand, you can't do exercise because you move 1, 2, 3, and you have to sit. Your quality of life is diminished. So what are some of the risk factors? So we're going to talk about for this disease. I'll start. The first one is smoking. If you smoke, you are predisposed to leg pain due to high cholesterol. I know that disease, peripheral artery disease, may sound so hard. So you are predisposed to leg pain due to high cholesterol. And the next point there is another risk factor for that is high blood pressure. The HBP stands for high blood pressure. If your blood pressure is not controlled, you are at risk for peripheral artery disease or leg pain due to high cholesterol. And then the next one is atherosclerosis. Your arteries become narrow. So the tube, I think we should go back to that if I can. This one, yeah. So if this is happening in your arteries, then obviously it's going to lead to a complete slowdown of blood flow in your muscles.
And I think the other risk factor too is uncontrolled diabetes. You can be diabetic, but if you are able to control it, then your risk is reduced. So if you are diabetic, you have to find ways and means to control your sugar.
All of these risk factors, if you can control them, you're also protecting yourself from heart attack. You're protecting yourself from erectile dysfunction. You're protecting yourself from stroke. You're protecting yourself from any cardiovascular disease out there that we are talking about.
The last but one is high cholesterol.
High cholesterol itself.
Again.
My goodness, it's everywhere.
So having peripheral artery disease, one of the huge things is like if your cholesterol is high, then your chance of getting this disease is also high.
All right. So,
and I think the last risk factor is age.
The last risk factor is age.
So age can be just a number if we do our things right. If our diet is good, we are exercising, we are doing all the good stuff.
According to the Centers for Disease Control in the US, age over 40 all the way to 60 is the highest risk, for developing PAD. As you age, right after 40 years, and it makes sense. By 40, you have eaten a lot of your pizzas, a lot of your burgers, cholesterol is there. So if you haven't watched your diet, at that point, the accumulation of plaques in your arteries would have begun. Right? It doesn't mean that you will have to reach there to see it. Some people, by nature of their diet and their genes, because they are making excess cholesterol, they may see symptoms of this even in their 30s or even their 20s. Some people are getting heart attacks and strokes in their 30s, gone too soon. You hear those all the time, right? So age is important, but like she said, lifestyle can renew your age. You can be 60 and somebody will look at you and say that you look 40, you look 50. It's because your lifestyle does not go with what the number said. And so in that respect, age becomes just a number. Beloved, we wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers.